Hello and welcome to the 2012 League of Women Voters Election Forum. I'm the moderator, Murray Farber, former newspaper and TV news editor. We're pleased that the candidates have joined us so that we can learn more about where they stand in the election to be held on November 6th. The League of Women Voters does not support nor oppose any candidate or political party. Before I introduce the candidates, I'll explain the format. We'll give each candidate a minute to tell you about themselves in an opening statement. Then we will get to the questions for 1-minute answers with 30-second rebuttals where appropriate. The order in which they speak was determined earlier. They were not given any peeks at the questions in advance. So at the closing, the candidates will offer a 1-minute statement, and here we go. Our candidates here today competing for the 16th Congressional District are Congressman Jim Costa and Congressman hopeful Brian Whelan. Let's start with Jim Costa.
Well, thank you, Maury. And let me first thank the League of Women Voters and Comcast for providing this forum today. Hello, I'm Jim Costa, and I'm running for Congress because I believe in the American dream. I know it, my family has lived it, and I believe that the best days of America are still ahead of us. For generations, families like yours and mine have come to this valley for better opportunities for themselves and their children, oftentimes with not much more than the clothes on their back. It's the success story of America. Certainly we have dealt with difficult challenges in the past, as we are today, but I still believe by working together, everything is possible. I believe that if we pull together and put the partisanship aside, the economy and opportunities for the next generation will significantly improve. And that's what I'm trying to do as your congressman.
Brian?
Thank you. I'm Brian Whelan. My family has been farming in the Central Valley for over 50 years. I grew up in farming. Now I represent a variety of businesses and individuals throughout the state in my capacity as an attorney. The Central Valley is the nation's breadbasket. The district is one of the most impoverished districts in the country. I live in this district. I grew up in this district. My grandparents came from South America to pursue the American dream in this district. One thing is for certain, and I believe that we cannot send the same people to Washington and expect a different result. My priorities are simple. Get people back to work. The unemployment rate is double-digit in this area. Improve our system of education and make sure that we clean up our federal government. There's waste that threatens our future generation. I would be happy to serve and honored to be your congressman.
Year after year, presidents and Congress say we need a definite immigration policy. And except for agreeing on the need for tighter borders to block illegal immigration, there's no comprehensive program, even though there's talk about it every year. How should we address this issue, considering the dependence that we have on migrant labor right here in the 16th District and the Valley as a whole? Where do we go on this? Do you want to start us off, Brian?
Sure. Immigration reform is a very important subject, especially in this area where we have many hundreds of thousands of undocumented workers. We have to realize in part the tremendous contributions of the Hispanic community to our valley. If it weren't for immigration, I wouldn't be here. I'm of Hispanic descent, and my grandparents have also sponsored many families from Mexico to come over as well. But we have to realize that our immigration system is broken. Right now, if you're a legal permanent resident and you want your brother to come over lawfully, it's about a 12-year wait before that visa is even reviewed. That encourages a lot of unlawful conduct. My vision, which is shared by both Republicans and Democrats alike, is that we need to have comprehensive immigration reform and do it in a way that addresses with common sense the problems that we have now. We need to develop a pathway to status whereby people can earn status in this country through paying taxes, not receiving any entitlements, not committing any crimes or aggravated misdemeanors. And after completion of the program, they'll have status.
Thank you. Jim?
Okay.
Yes, it's a very important question, not only for our valley, but for our nation. And I support comprehensive immigration reform. As a member of the Hispanic Caucus in Washington, we have made this our #1 priority. I supported President Bush's comprehensive immigration reform, and when it was then the Kennedy-McCain measure, and I support President Obama's comprehensive immigration reform. Let's remember, as I said on the onset, we are a nation of immigrants, past and present, and comprehensive immigration reform is to provide a path, a legal path to citizenship, not amnesty, that will allow the 12 million people, the overwhelming majority that are just working very hard, playing by the rules, trying to make a better life for themselves and their family. In the meantime, I think the DREAM Act, combined with ag jobs for our agriculture economy, is a critical first step towards comprehensive immigration reform.
Thank you. The public gives Congress low ratings in polls, especially in the aftermath of the budget and deficit limit battles. I'm wondering, what specific actions do you favor or support to reduce the federal deficit? Let's get into some money issues and start off with you, Jim.
Well, thank you. Probably there is no more pressing issue facing our nation than getting our fiscal house in order. I'm one of 38 members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats alike, that voted for the Simpson-Bowles Act, which is the only bipartisan proposal that gets us back on a path of financial solvency. Our expenditures are today 25% of our GNP, and our revenues are 15%, and that's unsustainable. But let me be clear about this. It's only going to happen. You hear the partisan rhetoric on both sides when Democrats and Republicans come together with the next administration. We need a path toward making sure that we get our revenues in line with our expenditures, and the Simpson-Bowles plan allows us to do just that.
Right.
Getting our fiscal house in order is absolute top priority without having some semblance of how we are going to balance a budget, how we are going to pay for these programs that are coming out. We will go broke. There's no question about that. Comments coming from my opponent about working bipartisan. On the key issues, however, Mr. Costa has voted in lockstep with his party. And that is something that has been an abandonment of the necessary needs of those in the Valley, specifically with TARP, with the debt limit, with voting to up the debt limit, to raise the debt limit, with the Obamacare vote. These are programs that will continue to spend us into debt, continual deficit spending. Voting 92% of the time on tax and spend issues with Nancy Pelosi is not in the best interest of our Valley or of our nation. And that is in part why I'm running. We need to restore fiscal responsibility, and we need to do it now.
I sense there's a desire here for a little rebuttal.
Well, that's simply untrue, Brian. The fact of the matter is that I have, out of 435 members of Congress, am ranked 6th on the least likely to vote with my party. Furthermore, when President Bush was in office, I voted with him 47% of the time. I have always had as my hallmark independence and voting for the people of this valley first. We need to get our financial house in order, but we're only going to do that when Democrats and Republicans come together and put aside the partisan finger pointing. And that's what I try to do every day.
Brian, did you have any other comment?
Sure, the point remains that I made that was obfuscated with the comments made by Congressman
They weren't
Costa,
obfuscated.
that is, as I said, that 92% of the time, Mr. Costa, on tax and spend issues, we're talking about fiscal policy, votes with Nancy Pelosi. That's a fact that is belied by the record. So it may be that you are also voting in other ways with Republicans. God bless you. But on these issues that are important to our nation and important to our valley, we don't see eye to eye, and they're important votes.
I think we have another one where you're going to disagree. Certainly, the presidential candidates have talked quite a bit about Affordable Health Care Act. Some like to call it the Obamacare. Can you explain what you believe the federal government should be doing to ensure that Americans have health coverage? And let's start with you, Brian.
Well, that's an important question, and it's one that's talked about quite frequently on the national level as we see the debates unfold. And I disagree with the Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act. It's going to take $716 billion away from our nation's seniors. In the Valley, it's going to weaken to the tune of, I believe, $794 million cuts to seniors, and that's something that my opponent has voted for. It will continue to spend us into the negative, and it's a program that can't sustain itself. Within the bill itself, there's a provision written in that within a certain period of time there will be a body that will be formed just to examine whether or not this bill is even makes sense economically or financially. If that had to be written in, that's a red flag that there's a problem. We need health care reform. We need to do it now. My program and vision is that we need to force transparency and competition so that we can lower costs and have it more accessible and affordable to people.
Thanks. Jim?
Thank you. The Affordable Health Care Plan that I voted for was patterned after Governor Romney's plan in Massachusetts. Obviously, there are many elements in it that are controversial. I argued that we should make incremental changes so that we could ensure insurance portability, that we could maintain the fact or ensure that insurance companies couldn't deny your coverage based upon a pre-existing condition, and so that you could keep your children on your own health care plan when they're striving to find a job. The fact is that this valley has among the largest amount of citizens with no insurance whatsoever, and those that are underinsured. This plan, while I believe is a work in progress, needs to continue to have bipartisan support to make the changes necessary to ensure its cost affordability. Because at the end of the day, the entitlement programs and Medicare and Medicaid will bankrupt this country unless we can come together on some common sense bipartisan approach.
Thank you.
May I respond?
Go ahead.
Yes. The statement by the congressman that his only disapproval of Obamacare, yet in spite of voting for it, was that it has incremental changes that he would have liked to have seen made. Well, it wasn't a good idea at one time, or it wouldn't be a good idea over the long period of time. I don't understand the distinction. It's a problem that cannot be afforded. It's a healthcare tax, essentially, is what the Supreme Court said. It is one of the largest taxes on the poor that this country has ever seen. And it does not solve the problem of making healthcare more cost effective. In fact, it's going to have the opposite impact while taking away money from seniors.
Jim, I think you're being pushed on the distinction.
Well, no, but I think the fact is a lot of economists disagree. And the Governor Romney plan in Massachusetts is working. Clearly, we will continue to make incremental changes, but doing nothing alone is not a solution. And the fact is that we pay for the cost of those people who have no health care insurance. Make no mistake about it. This plan is a lot of what came out of the Conservative Heritage Foundation think tank, and clearly we're going to have to continue to work on this on a bipartisan basis.
Let me get into another area that has come up at all of the debates, the issue of unemployment. Here in your district, we see it's averaging around 14%, and it's higher than the state average, which is about 10 and a fraction percent. So my question is, what action would you take to stimulate employment opportunities, especially for young people entering the workforce? And let's start this time with Jim.
Well, I think that the important efforts to get our valley's economy back on track is involved in, one, stabilizing the housing industry. Housing creates so much economic opportunities, and we see that finally taking place here in the valley with housing prices beginning to stimulate and construction activity beginning to pick up. But in addition to that, we need to invest in our infrastructure, as our parents and grandparents did, investing in our water. It's every day I'm fighting to bring more water for this valley. The Intertie project is bringing 60,000 acre-feet of additional water this year. The Madera Water Bank is going to bring 100,000 acre-feet of additional water this year. And we need to build Temperance Flat and fix the Delta. Bringing more water to this valley and to our state will improve the economy and bring new good jobs in the near term. In addition to that, our transportation system. I provided funding for 99. We see the construction projects taking place right now on 99. I provided the ballot measure for the funding for the Fresno Clovis freeway system. For the last 20 years, we've enjoyed the improvements over the Fresno-Clovis freeway system. It's improved the economy. It's created jobs.
Brian?
Unemployment is a significant problem, and it is a significant problem amongst our youth here. Those that graduate from college don't have meaningful jobs or access to jobs, and there are a lot of people that are leaving the valley because there's a lack of opportunity. One thing is for sure, we can't send the same people back to Sacramento or to Washington that have put us in this place. I heard just now talking about investing in our infrastructure. Yes, absolutely we need to do that. We need to have a good opportunity for public and private to partner to revamp our water conveyance and storage. That creates jobs. Why aren't we doing that? Why hasn't that happened over the last 34 years? Instead of spending money in areas that we don't have and deprioritizing such things as the Veterans Home, we're spending money on the high-speed rail. And it's money that we don't have right now. Let's invest it in Temperance Flat Dam. Let's invest in our transportation system, invest in our infrastructure. But if we want to create jobs in this area, which is what I propose and what we need to do, then we need to reduce the regulations and red tape for development of small businesses and help our farmers. Instead of voting against water for them like Mr. Costa did in 2009 with H.R. 146. We need to support the Valley. That's what I intend to do.
No one believes that, Brian.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, the fact is, no one's done more for water in this valley than Jim Costa, both in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. But you don't have to take my word for it. Talk to the water experts in our local water districts, whether it be in Westlands Irrigation District or whether it be in the Madera Irrigation District or in the San Luis Project. All of these leaders in water who are fighting for additional water resources are supporting my candidacy. And they're doing so because they know I have helped them bring more water to this valley. And that's a fight that we have to continue to make.
I would briefly respond that with respect to the bill in 2009, it's H.R. 146. The record speaks for itself. Mr. Costa, when we needed water most and when we needed some remediation for the pump issue, you were not there for us. And we see that with a lot of articles now that are coming out referring to portions of the west side as the Appalachia of the West. There's portions that have massive unemployment to the tune of 37%. We need people that are going to stand up for our valley, and that's who I hope to be, and that's why I'm running this race.
We've hit some key issues today, and there are so many more, but it's time for us to wrap up. And so let's get some closing statements. Brian, will you start us off?
Sure, and thank you very much for the opportunity to address some of these key issues that are before us that not only face us here as a district but also as a nation. And it would be my pleasure to serve in Congress. Mr. Costa has served in various capacities for the last 34 years. We find ourselves in one of the most impoverished districts in the country, and I believe it's time for a change, forward progress towards a brighter future, and a future where we have insurance that we have the American dream before us, just like it was there for my immigrant grandparents, that we can continue to work hard and get ahead in this valley and in our home, and in my home, and in your home. Please vote for me on November 6th, and I appreciate your support, and I hope to earn your trust. Thank you.
Thank you, Murray, and let me thank the League of Women Voters and Comcast for providing this opportunity today. I'm running for Congress because I know what the American dream has meant for immigrant families like yours and mine. That dream is still the hope of future generations. The issues that are critical of this valley are those that I've been focused on for years. As a third-generation farmer, bringing more water to our valley and improving our transportation systems, such as Highway 99 and building the Fresno-Clovis freeway system, will create jobs and improve our economy, and that's what we must do. What sets me apart from my opponent is my experience and my in-depth knowledge of the issues, which, after all, allows you to get things done. And that's what Jim Costa has been able to do over the years, is get things done. I look forward to building on those successes, and I hope that I can earn your trust and support on November 6th, excuse me. And please, everyone, exercise your right to vote. It's a basic right of American citizenship. Thank you.
Well, on behalf of the League of Women Voters, I want to thank Jim and Brian for sharing their views today, and I want to thank Community Media Access Collaborative for providing the facilities. Now, as they both have said, it's your turn to be a good citizen and vote on Tuesday, November 6th. If you have any questions about voting procedures, the county clerk's office will be glad to assist you. You can phone 559-600-8683 or email clerk-elections@co.fresno.ca.us. Thank you, and remember to vote. Thank you both. Thank you.